Good morning. My name is Raynor Roberts. Everyone calls me Ray Roberts. And I am shooting this video from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, specifically King Saud bin Abdulaziz University for Health Sciences, where I serve as an English lecturer for the English department at the university. King Saud bin Abdulaziz University for Health Science is the premier medical university in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and we help young minds who are aspiring to be doctors and dentists and pharmacists and other professions within the healthcare industry in Saudi Arabia. My other responsibilities in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, I am the managing partner of the Academic Partnership, which is an American-based educational consulting firm, and we do a host of things. Primarily, we help schools, international schools, and national schools in the kingdom and actually throughout the world. But specifically, most of our clients are in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We help recruit, we help them find teachers, we help them find key personnel such as superintendents and principals. We also help with teacher training. We do various types of professional development. One act that we have been performing for about 5 years now is our Saudi TESOL program, which I am very proud of. We have trained over 225 teachers, specifically teachers who are in international schools and national schools, and those teachers who are not qualified or don't have a certification or any type of licensure. So we help get those those teachers on task as it relates to basic teaching strategies. Also, I am the father of a 2-year-old and a 6-month-year-old. And as we talk about leadership, I am exploring a whole different facet of leadership now that I have 2 young children, and they are most definitely challenging me to rethink and to create and explore different leadership strategies. Also in the kingdom, because I do a lot of consulting with schools, we host many events, which also requires a different type of skill set as it relates to leadership, and also as it relates to getting things done logistically and operationally. So I'm pretty full, I'm pretty busy, and every day of the week, due to my responsibilities here in the kingdom, and even when I'm at home, my hometown is Baltimore, Maryland. I've had the luxury or the benefit of really exercising leadership in formal settings. I'm a prior military enlisted and commissioned officer. I served in the United States Army, so I've been in leadership in school systems, Baltimore City Public School System. I've been in leadership in the healthcare industry, so I have a vast experience in leading. I don't think I'm an expert by any stretch of imagination, but I have a lot of experience leading folks. Who is the most influential person in my life? Well, because I've had many opportunities to be around some dynamic leaders, one person comes to mind, and that is Steve Young, who is my stepdad. And basically, I am where I am today because of my dad. Right from the very beginning, I remember I always wanted to emulate him. Today, my fathering, the way I father, has a lot to do with how he fathered me. My the way my perspective on things has a lot to do with how he talked, has a lot to do with how he mentored me and raised me as a kid. A lot of what I have done, including going into the military, was because of my dad. So he is most definitely the most influential person in my life. From a professional standpoint, my current mentor is David Hopkins, who's a pretty well-known person in the world of ESL, and he actually has mentored me in many ways over the last 6 years. So he's very influential, but the most influential is my dad, Stephen Young. The results of my personality test. My personality test, the results of my test, I would say is as I would expect them to be, with one exception. So just to briefly give you my results, extroversion, I scored a 97%. It pretty much makes sense for me because I'm not a shy person. As I said, I've been in leadership, which requires me not to be shy. I'm also a amateur DJ, and again, we throw a lot of events. Even when I'm back home in my hometown, we throw a lot of events. I'm a pretty, festive type of guy. I like to be around people. I like to talk a lot. The extroversion was exactly where I expected to be as far as being 97%. So no shock there. Emotional stability, I scored 96%. Again, really not a shock to me based on what I do. I always have to be calm, cool, and collective. I get paid based on being calm, cool, and collective, especially when I'm consulting at schools. When I'm DJing, I have to be calm, cool, collective. I've trained myself over the last 20 years based on the many different situations and scenarios I've been in, whether it's military or healthcare or academia, to just be relaxed. And I really don't have the time to be down or sad or blue because I'm handling and addressing other folks' issues. So it kind of keeps my mind preoccupied away from my own things that I probably should be a little sad about. But I think I do a decent job of staying away from being depressed because I'm so busy and so active. As far as conscientiousness, I scored an 87%, which, again, no shock there. I thought maybe it should have been maybe in the 90s. I think I'm a very organized person. I'm not the most organized person, but I'm more than fairly organized. I enjoy being efficient, extremely efficient. I love being prepared. I hate being unprepared for anything. I love preparedness. In fact, some may even consider me a prepper in some regard. I'm not an extreme prepper, but I most definitely think about scenarios and contingency plans and being prepared. Conscientiousness, it's again 87% is about right. I would imagine. Agreeableness. Agreeableness, obviously, because of what I do, consulting, and also the non-profit work that I do, the charity work I do, the pro bono work that I do for people here in certain situations here in Saudi Arabia. That would make sense that I'm at a 87% for agreeableness. I tend to be as as tend to be a very generous person. I think most people would say that I'm very generous. Um, I try to be very empathetic and sympathetic. I try more to show empathy to folks and not sympathy. But again, I have to do that. That's how I pay my bills. That's how I put. That's how I buy diapers. I have to be agreeable, but I think it comes natural. I was once told. Someone once told me, someone that I really cared about, told me that I was too altruistic, and I think that person is right, and I'm working on that. The one aspect of the test that I was a little this I thought was I would score I would have scored higher is intellect and imagination, which I scored 80%. Um, I, I consider myself a really reflective person. In fact, in the TESOL course that I mentioned earlier, a large part of the TESOL course that we execute here in the Saudi program is based on reflective teaching. So we have candidates do a series of reflective journals, and both in session and out of sessions based on their teaching and how they consumed information. And I put a high value on that, on reflective journals, because I think that's how teachers become better teachers, and how we do our work better is when we reflect on it. So I was someone who really promotes this idea of reflection. Um, I was I thought that I may have scored a little bit higher on that. I tend to be an abstract thinker. I tend to look at things from different perspectives, um, um, and so I thought I would have scored a little bit higher. In fact, when I shared my results with someone who has known me for a long time, they would have said they commented that they thought my intellect and imagination would have been um, um, higher at 97, 98%. So, or would have been the highest variable, but it was the lowest variable. So, but overall, I agree with the results of the personality test. Um, the two leadership uh, theories that I'm most closely aligned to, or that I believe that kind of fits my leadership and my personality, would be situational leadership and transformational leadership. Now, as I stated in my reply on the Google Doc sheet, I've been all of those types of leaders at some point in my career. All the strategy or theories that we researched or looked at for this exercise, as I read them, I think all at some point in my career I have embraced all those strategies, and in many aspects I still hold on to some of them. Some of them I've let go, and you know, when asked the question, situational leadership and transformational leadership is where I am today, right now, mainly because of what I do. Um, you know, I'm tasked with going to schools and changing systems. I'm tasked with being a transformational type person, looking at systems, looking at how I can improve systems within the school, looking at how here at the university, I have to look at, I have to be very charismatic about how we should move the department forward, and especially when it comes to specific tasks. One recent task that I've been given is as an interventionist. So I do a lot of intervention with students who are having issues in their various different English classes, and you know, and I find myself looking at that. I have a team of people, and I find myself looking at that mission in a very task-based oriented way, um, based on the folks that I have working for me in the situation, in the context of all the situations. Um, 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 when I go out to my schools that I consult for, like I said, I, I go there with the intentions of making their systems better, improving their systems, whether it's their management system, whether it's their curriculums, their academic approach, whatever the case may be, their hiring system, their HR system. I look to transform it to make it better, and I do that by hopefully I'm doing that by inspiring folks, by making sure that they're properly trained, by making sure that folks have the proper resources. So that's where I am today in my leadership approach. Um, so I think that's where I'm at. It's a pretty long video. It's 17 minutes. I look forward to meeting and talking to everyone in this group, in this cohort. And have a pleasant day, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you for your time.